I'm the Frugal Gardener. I garden in Zone 7A. That's in West Virginia. Garden on, my homestead is on roughly 4.5 acres of land. I garden on approximately a quarter of an acre. And about a year ago, I started a series called Gardening Over 40. Well, in part because I am over 40. I mean, I could have titled it Gardening Over 70. But we're back to that time of year again. I didn't do a lot of those videos over the summer. I did pretty much videos for everyone. But I'm going back to that series. Well, one of the reasons is because we're going into fall and a lot of people don't garden in the winter, but times are tough. And I did some research. There are literally millions of senior citizens who have food problems in terms of lack of having enough food to feed themselves. So this is one way they can add to their food supply. And what I'm going to do in this episode is I'm going to give you 10 things that you can use to grow food in containers that are under $10. Now, I suggest you watch to the end because the last three don't cost you anything. The last three are what I would consider upscale, upcycle, recycle. And I'm going to start right here since I'm here. This is mint. This was supposed to have been a multi-purpose bin, but as you can see, the mint has taken over, and I'm okay with that. These bins, or totes, I actually looked it up because there's a difference between bins and totes. Either will work. And I usually get mine from Walmart. You'll hear that name mentioned quite a bit because it's what's closest to me, Walmart and Tractor Supply. But I don't care where you get it from. You can get them from friends or you may have them laying around the house. And you see where I'm going with this. I did not fill this with soil. I filled this with sticks and twigs and leaves and branches about a third of the way, and then the rest I filled with soil. This is mint that I'm about to harvest because this is going to die back for the winter. So that's number one that you can get if you want something on a larger scale. Most of what I'm going to show you guys is in containers, and as I said in the title, and it's because the older you get, the less you want to bin. In some cases, the less you can actually bin, period. So let's move on to number two. And this is familiar to you guys who are regulars to my channel. And these are crates. I line these. The landscape material is like $5. It's super cheap. And you can line all these for $5. And I had someone say to me that, even though my crates were free, that they can't find crates in their neighborhood. I'm not going to go through that whole thing again. Basically, what it is I was able to get these locally from stores, but that was at least 5 years ago. Not sure if that's still the case. However, you can buy these online for, I believe it was $5.99, $4.99. As a matter of fact, I have a little cheat sheet. Okay, it's $6.50 for the crates. So $6.50 for the crates and $5 for a roll of material, and you're good to go. These crates are 12 by 12. So, and everything that I'm going to show you today, the key is basically to look up and see the depth that you need and the width that you need to grow particular vegetables, especially during the winter. So this is kind of in the medium range, but now over here is number 3, and these are also one of my favorites, and that is dish pans. I have a little quick story to tell you guys. You can see I'm growing bush beans in here. You can see the white flowers that are coming up. This thing baffled the crap out of me for the past couple of months. Excuse the mess. I am in transition. It is October. You can see some of the beans coming up here, but I should have been harvesting these by now, and I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. Here's one here. And last year, what happened was the deer would come down here at night and eat my beans or whatever it is I planted. So I throw this over there at night, and I thought, okay, this is working well. But then I couldn't figure out why there were no beans. And the reason is because, well, I found out a little bit late, the grasshoppers were coming up in here, and I can see them on the warmer days now that it's fall. And the grasshoppers were eating the beans before they were large enough for me to harvest. So these are going to be moved because these plants are still viable. You can see where I put the drainage. I tell you guys all the time, make sure that you have at least one drainage hole. These come in various sizes. This is the size I prefer. This is the larger one. This is the smaller one. And again, look at the depth. I've grown carrots in these. I've grown spinach in these. Clearly, I'm growing beans in here now. You can grow quite a bit of things in these. And they are relatively inexpensive. I mean, $3.98 is what I generally pay for these, and they last for years. When they start getting old and brittle, you can actually double them and get another year or two use out of it. So that's number 1. That's number 2. Let's go on, and that's number 3, because the totes / bin is 1. The milk crates are 2. The dish pans are 3. Don't forget, the last 3 that I'm going to show you are upscale and won't cost you a dime. These are grow bags. If you're new to gardening, you may not know, but they've come on pretty strong in the gardening market over the past 4 or 5 years. I would say 10 years ago, most people didn't know what these were. These are very convenient. I have to confess, I don't like using these much in the summer. I do it, but what happens is they dry out pretty quickly in the summer. That's not the case in the winter. These things are, pardon the pun, dirt cheap. You can get 4 or 5 of these in a pack from Amazon or big box stores for about $5 or $6. They're really not that expensive at all. There's one here. By the way, this is another one of the smaller bins that I use, and you can see this is deeper, and there's another one. I have them all over the place. So that is another one that I'm going to be using probably this winter. And so back to the grow bags. Here is another. I have about, I don't know, 7 or 8. This one I'm using for broccoli. Now, I've never grown broccoli in a grow bag before. A lot of these things need watering, so I will tend to those as soon as I finish making this video because I'm behind. I need to get this up. And the next one is something that you also see me use a lot of. I've been doing this for a long time. This is actually being used as a starter container. This is obviously a window box. So This is one of the larger window boxes, and some people refer to them as planters. These are also fairly inexpensive. The smaller ones are about $4. This is a larger one. I don't like fiddling around with the smaller ones when I can get the larger ones. These, I believe, I have a label on here. It might have came out, but I believe that these are purple collards. I have to go back and check. I think the wind and the rain blew my label away. But this is, these are too many to actually stay in here. But you can see how deep this is. This is going back to what I said earlier. You guys, you don't have to always grow vegetables in these. I grow basil. I grow sage. I grow all sorts of herbs in here, and you can put them on the windowsill for teas. There is coriander, lavender. There's a bunch of things that will grow in here that you can just keep using, year after year. And once you pay for it, that's it. You might remember this. This was my first time successful summer garden since I've been up here. And it's seen better days, but that's by design, because now we're going into winter. A lot of this is going to rest. And that brings me to my next container, which is still actually producing. I am more than happy and surprised that here we are approaching the second week in October, and I'm still getting cherry tomatoes. We've had mild weather. I cannot complain, not one bit, because this is going the way I wanted it to go. This is a whole nother story. I'm going to do a tour on this, but right now we're talking about containers under $10, and there's one right there. I was in Home Depot less than a week ago, and I picked up a bucket. Those 5-gallon buckets with the handles. Some people call them pails. And I paid $3.98. Now, here's the story. For those of you who've heard this before, please be patient. I'm coming up to the really good stuff in a minute. There are people who have said to me that you're not supposed to garden in plastic because it's unhealthy. Well, I've researched this, and I'm going back a couple of times. And this type of plastic, this hard plastic, it takes roughly, over 100 years for this to break down. So it's up to you. I'm not going to say use it, don't use it. I've been using it for years. I'm in my mid-70s. I'm still fairly healthy, so I use it. I don't have a problem with it. But you can see why I am suggesting that you use this. This is a 5-gallon bucket. This is food grade. This is not the orange one I mentioned to you earlier. Food grade is going to cost you roughly $1 more. But look, this is one of the three. These are the 3 containers. They gave me so many tomatoes all summer. I planted indeterminate, and boy, it lived up to its name. This, if you follow this up, you'll see where the majority of tomatoes that are still coming up. There's some coming up over here from out of here, but the bulk of these are coming up from these 2, which is proof that this works. So you can literally grow cherry tomatoes in this 5-gallon container with no problem. This is the one over here, similar to the one that I just brought, which brings me to the next on my list, next container that you can use to garden with. The reason why I have emphasizing container is because when you are older, you're not going to be fooling around out here in the ground, in the soil, in the cold. It's probably going to be frozen anyway. So um, you are probably going to need something that you can elevate. This is next on my list. Now, my suggestion, because this is well, people call them waste paper baskets. Waste paper baskets, not to be confused with the other baskets. These are usually used in offices. I do not recommend that you go to Office Supply or Office Max or any of those fancy office stores to purchase these because they're going to cost you more money. I would suggest that you go to like a dollar store or again Amazon. There's that word again. Any of those stores that you can pick stuff up at discounted prices. I love using these because of the depth. And you can see this is starting to crack up, but this is about 5 years old. You can plant quite a few things in here that you can't plant in some of these smaller containers, especially the one I just showed you. You can plant broccoli, you can plant cabbage, not cabbage, you can Brussels sprouts, anything that's going to go upward, that's going to have a significant depth. This is roughly 2 feet. I would say this is probably a little bit less than 2 feet. And you can see I've staked this. This is basically going to get ripped out. This was my Malabar spinach, but you know, it's pretty much going to seed. And like I said, summer's over, so it's done its job. So I'm happy with what I have here. But yeah, you can see how much soil you can put in here, and you're not going to get a lot that's going to go this way. But if you want something that's going to go horizontal, you want something more like this. This is going to get you vertical, but I will remind you that this is going to be heavy to move. This is one reason why it's not going in my greenhouse this winter, because it's going to be too much of a struggle for this 77-year-old back to be lifting this and getting it up into where it needs to go. So yeah, this is also on my list. And remember what I said to you earlier about these grow bags. Here's another one. This is bell peppers that I'm going to overwinter this, cut this back, take this inside, or put it in the greenhouse so that I can use this next spring. As you can see, we've moved inside. We've covered 1 to 7, and these last 3 are upscale. These 3 will not cost you any money, and you probably see where I'm going with this already, but you want to stick around for number 10 because I am almost positive that at least 99% of you guys have never seen the last one that I'm going to use. It's a game changer for me, something I've used before, but I don't think very many people have caught on to this yet. And if you're on a fixed income, or if you don't want to spend money on containers, that's the one you're going to want to see. So let's start with the obvious one. This is an old watering container that has seen better days. If you look down here, you'll see it has holes in it. I always tell you guys about drainage, and in this case, that's how this ended up here. You might think this opening is too small, but you see what I'm growing in here? I'm growing mint in here. You can grow basil, you can grow thyme, you can grow lemongrass, you can grow all sorts of herbs that you can use in your cooking, or you can use for tea, or you can use for medicinal purposes. And most people just throw these away. if you've gardened for any period of time, then you've run through a couple of these. And I did a video on why you should not leave these out in the wintertime. I used to lose quite a few of these because they would have water in them. It would freeze overnight. They would expand and boom, that's it. Gone, trash. Well, no longer will these go in the trash. These are containers. They're free. If you want to fix the income, or if you just want to save money, this is the way to go. Find something useful to do with it. These three are pretty much self-explanatory. Again, you have the height, and again, you have to put in drainage, and you're good to go. So basically, I'm growing cone cabbage in here. Why cone cabbage? Because cone cabbage grows vertical. The most traditional cabbage, it grows vertical, but it grows mostly horizontal. So these two, I'm trying my hand at growing cone cabbage, and this one is going to be cherry tomatoes. Now, here's the deal with these. Basically, going back to the theme of people talking about using plastic, these are food grade. Well, how do you know? Well, because food came in them originally. So this was coffee mate. We drink a lot of coffee around here. I save these. I've saved these over the years. I use them for a lot of different things. I never throw those out, but here we are. So I'm going to use these for cherry tomatoes. I'm going to use these for cone cabbage, and this one I'm going to use for mint. But like I said, these are all free. You can look around your house. I just said I drink a lot of coffee, so I have coffee containers that are about the same size as these. Of course, they're shaped differently, and I use those also. But I also use those for my hydroponics. So here we are. That's 8, that's 9, and now for the big reveal. So here we are with number 10. Have you guessed it yet? Okay, time for the big reveal. Number 10, my last container, my free container, is a box. Actually, 2 boxes. I love this idea. Yes, it works. I've done it before. I've grown carrots in here. I've grown a couple of things in here. This is simple. It's free. You don't have to go to Walmart. You don't have to go to the big box stores, Home Depot, any of those places. Just go to your corner store. Just go to any store, because they throw these boxes away every day, all day, even on Sundays. So you go there, you find 2 boxes of similar sizes. You can do it with 1, but I prefer 2 because it gives me a little extra protection. It gives me a little insulation. This is good for probably 1 grow. You're not going to keep these for years, but you basically have an unlimited supply. I double these. I fold down the flaps, just gently push it in, and you're going to do targeted watering. The difference between using these and everything else, people just go out in the yard, they turn on the hose, and they just flood everything. I mean, you know, it's you're not working for the fire department. You're basically going to target where your water goes. You don't want to overwater these, because obviously that's going to help accelerate the deterioration of the box. So I watered this a little bit more often. I say this is new, but in the past I've watered a little bit more often. But this is, to me, the ultimate in being frugal. I mean, in my next video, I'm going to show you guys what I'm growing in this one. And it's not just this one. I'm going to do a few of these, a few different sizes, a few different heights, a few different plants. And I turn this around deliberately because I'm growing something in here. I just planted it the other day. And I'm not going to show you what I'm growing in this quite yet. But like I said, This is part of my Gardening Over 40 series. This is something that is easy to carry around. You're not going to break your back. You're not going to break the bank, because so far, all I've spent is 25 cents. And that's on seeds. So in next week's video, I'm going to elaborate on this. But basically, I just wanted you to think outside, well, think outside the box and see how you can grow food to add to your pantry, to cut back on your food budget. I mean, we've touched. Just to recap quickly here, we talked about waste paper basket. We talked about using a bucket or a pail, window box or a planter, a dishpan, milk crates, grow bags, coffee containers, bins, totes. I mean, run the gambit from things that you can grow, just, a little bit of things in, like mint or sage or things like that, to actually growing broccoli and growing Brussels sprouts and things like that, to this, which is a little bit kind of versatile, but as I said, more to come. This is the beginning, which I think is going to be a game changer for a lot of people who are on limited budgets. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please share it. Please repost it. Please subscribe if you haven't. Click the like button. I'm sure you have questions. Put your questions or comments down below. I'm the Frugal Gardener. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. But remember what I always tell you. If you grow your own food, you'll always know where it comes from. Catch you guys in a few days with a brand new video. Enjoy your day. Go out and get some free boxes and grow something.